Okay, so I'm gonna start my persuasive speech by taking a tally about how many people think cereal's a soup, how many people think hot dog's a sandwich, how many people think ketchup's a jam, and then I'm gonna start my speech. I stand before you today to make a bold statement. Cereal is indeed a soup, a hot dog is in fact a sandwich, and ketchup is indeed tomato jam. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, what kind of ridiculous thinking is that? But hear me out. Firstly, let's start with the fact that soup is a cereal. The definition of a soup is, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a soup is a liquid food, especially with meat, fish, or vegetables as a base, often containing pieces of solid food. Now, let's compare that to the definition of a bowl of cereal. Cereal is a liquid food, typically made with a milk as a base and often containing pieces of solid food, namely the cereal itself. Sound familiar? But that's not the only reason that cereal can be considered a soup. Just like with soups, there are endless variations and combinations of ingredients that can be used to create a bowl of cereal. You can choose from a variety of different types of cereal, add fruits, nuts, or other toppings, and can even switch up the milk for a different flavor. Now let's not forget about hot cereal options like oatmeal and cream of wheat. These are certainly more reminiscent of traditional soup and often contain similar ingredients like milk or broth. Now, I know some of you may argue that soup is typically served hot, whereas cereal is served cold, but gazpacho, a cold soup made from blended vegetables, may not be the norm. It is still considered a soup. So why does any of it matter? Well, by recognizing cereal as a soup, we can broaden our culinary horizons and break down arbitrary food categorizations. It's time to let go of preconceived notions and embrace the delicious possibilities that exist beyond traditional mealtime conventions. In conclusion, for the soup and cereal section of the speech, I urge you to reconsider your stance on cereal. Don't limit it to just a breakfast food. Embrace it as a soup, a tasty and versatile option that can be enjoyed any time of the day. The next thing I'm here to argue is hot dogs are in fact a sandwich. I know that some of you may disagree with this assertion, but I ask that you hear me out. Firstly, let's again define what a sandwich is according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. A sandwich is two or more slices of bread or a split roll having a filling in between. Now let's compare that definition to a hot dog. A hot dog is a split roll with a filling in between, namely the sausage itself. Sound familiar? But that's not the only reason a hot dog can be considered a sandwich. Just like with the sandwiches, there are endless variations, combinations, and ingredients that can be used to create a hot dog. You can choose from a variety of different types of sausages, add toppings like mustard, ketchup, or else, and even switch up the bun for a different flavor. Now, let's not forget about other types of sandwiches that use a similar roll to a hot dog bun, like a lobster roll or Philly cheesesteak. There are certainly more reminiscents of traditional sandwiches and often compare similar ingredients like meat or cheese. Now, I know some of you may argue that a hot dog is typically served on a single piece of bread, whereas a sandwich is served on two separate pieces of bread. But consider the open-faced sandwiches that are served on a single piece of bread with the topping placed on top. They may not be the norm, but they are still considered a sandwich. In conclusion, for the hot dog sandwich section, I urge you to reconsider your stance on hot dogs. Don't limit them to just a snack food or a ballpark treat. Embrace them as a sandwich, a tasty and versatile option that can be enjoyed anytime, anywhere. The last thing I want to advocate for is the delicious and often overlooked condiment tomato ketchup jam. Yes, you heard that right, ketchup jam. And why is this such a good idea, you might ask? It all comes down to one simple fact. Tomatoes are in fact a fruit. That's right. Despite what you might have thought, a tomato is a fruit. And as a fruit, it possesses a natural sweetness, and it's just beginning to be transformed into a delicious, spreadable jam. Think about it. We've been putting tomatoes on sandwiches and burgers for decades, and yet we've never fully realized their potential as a sweet spread. Ketchup, on the other hand, is often thought of as a simple condiment to add flavor to our favorite foods. But with a few tweaks, it becomes so much more. By cooking down ketchup with a few added ingredients, we can create a thick, spreadable jam that is perfect for slathering on toast, biscuits, even pancakes. But why stop at just ketchup jam? We can also experiment with different variations, adding in ingredients like spices, garlic, and even bacon to create unique, flavorful spreads that will make your breakfast or snack game to the next level. Some of you might be skeptical, thinking the ketchup jams are just too different to be combined. But think about it this way. Ketchup is already a blend of tomato, sugar, vinegar, and spices. All we're doing is amplifying the sweetness and transforming it into a more complex, versatile spread. In conclusion, for this section on tomato jam, I encourage you to give tomato jam a chance. It might sound unconventional, but once you try it, you wonder how you ever lived without it. So go ahead, embrace the sweetness of tomatoes, and let's make ketchup jam a household staple. And then I would take another tally.